Hello and welcome to the video walkthrough for ChatGPT for Authors. In this short mini course, we are going to go step by step through the process of finding lucrative book niches, coming up with a book title, and writing your book manuscript, all the way up to creating book descriptions and book blurbs so you can self-publish and start making money as a book author, or maybe even build your entire self-publishing business using, or at least being very strongly supported by AI. So without further ado, I'm here in the chapter on finding lucrative book ideas, and I will use the prompt we have here. While using this prompt, because we want ChatGPT to give us a long list of topics or niches that are currently very popular, and also use the online browsing feature to really find the topics that, whenever you're using this at this current point in time, are very popular. So I copy this prompt and I go to ChatGPT. I already have the prompt here. One short note, I'm using ChatGPT with a Plus subscription, so I have access to GPT-4, which is the more advanced large language model. And I have access to the ChatGPT Plus features that include image generation and image analysis that we are going to use when it comes to creating ideas for a book cover design. And I absolutely recommend you to get this because you will also use GPT-4 to write your book draft. And GPT-4 is much better in terms of the quality of the writing. Don't create a book draft with GPT 3.5. It will be really bad compared to GPT-4. Even GPT 3.5 as an AI is kind of so fascinating. But if you work with GPT-4 for long, GPT 3.5 will just seem pretty bad. All right, so I have the prompt, and I'm now just going to hit the enter button, let this run in real time, and then we will hopefully get a long list of topics and niches that are currently very trendy. So we get 5 topics for niches. That's all right, but to be honest, I'm not fully happy. I've done this before and it gave me 12 or 13. So in this specific case, I will just encourage Judge if you could give me a more extensive list. By the way, that's just an example. You can copy and paste the prompts one for one, but you should also stay flexible and adjust a little bit, maybe depending on the output you get, because ChatGPT sometimes will give you longer, sometimes shorter inputs. So it's always good if you stay a little flexible. Think for yourself on how you want to adjust the prompts in the book. Maybe you already have specific ideas for certain niches, so that just adds to it. I like this more. Yeah. We have more specific niches. We get a list of 12. I really like this. And I'm now looking at what could actually be working with. Pretty good. So the one I will be working with is working from home and time management. So I just copied this so I can use it later, but let's go back to the book. Okay, first we're brainstorming with AI. And now that we have a niche or a broad niche that I'm going to pick, I will want to identify sub niches within that niche. Because the books you're going to write should be very specific and they should address a specific problem or a very targeted audience. So I'm going to copy this prompt, go here, and then adjust it for the topic I've picked. Okay. So I'm saying, thank you very much. I would like to explore the book niches in the field of, and that's what I'm working with, right? Maybe just use this to make it clear that that's what I'm going for. So the goal here is to find more specific sub niches and get specific ideas I can work with. The prompt says, I would like to explore, meaning please give me a broader list of niches in this broader field. That's interesting, right? So you can already see that each of these topics could really be a book of its own. And the question out kind of is also for yourself, if you go through this process, which one of these maybe is the most popular or probably has the biggest audience, right? Because that means his successful book could make more money. And at the same time, the question could also be, which of these is the most interesting and appealing to you? Because nothing keeps you from having fun in this process, right? And especially if you're just starting out, you should pick a topic that you also like, so you will have the wherewithal to finish or to follow through with it. So I'm looking at these topics, and personally, the one I find most interesting is time management for remote workers. Yeah, I want to go with time management for remote workers. Okay, no, I'll go with work-life balance. Right, that is a really good, interesting topic. How to manage my work life working from home. So I just copied this to a clipboard, which is always good because maybe I will need it in the next prompt. But I go back to the book. So we have identified a problem, right? We have identified a topic, which is work-life balance for remote workers. So I now want to learn more about the problems and frustrations that the potential reader has. And I want to know, in the first step, I want to identify the problems that they have. I was going to say questions that they are asking themselves, but that's what we will be looking at in the next step. So I copy this prompt. I go back to ChatGPT. I paste the prompt. And of course, I have to edit now. So the niche is work-life balance or remote workers. Yeah. And I'm asking this question because I want to better understand the target reader so I can write for them. So I can create a book outline that will address and answer their problems or solve their problems. If you see this, it's browsing the internet, which is great. We always want the most up-to-date information to work with. Good. So here we have problems that they have. We have a list of feed problems, so that's very good, very informative. And the next step that I'm using is, which I find really interesting to better understand my target reader is, and of course they're connected to the problems. It's just a different way to phrase them. So what I want to know is, what are their pain points and exactly what questions do they have on their mind? Because my book or any nonfiction book is usually solving a problem. And solving a problem means that you deliver answers to questions. That's the point of this prompt. So I will be using this prompt. Awesome. So here you would put your topic, right, or your niche. And Actually, I don't focus the book on all of these problems because I think that they are a book of its own. So, right, this is basically my book, and those are problems that we have. So now let's just ask again, what are some of the problems when people suffer within this niche? What are some of the questions? What are some of the questions they wish to have answers to? And of course, as you can see, the problems and the pain points and the questions are usually connected, right? And basically, you can turn any problem or pain point into a question. And that's also what ChatGPT is doing here. So maybe it's just a different approach, but I think especially if you look at the questions, you will really get an understanding for your reader, and you will basically have the answers to what kind of topics should be covered in your outline and in your book. Multi-rate. Now, what you can also do is, again, the process that I'm mentioning here. You can go to Amazon, you can enter keywords like remote work, like work-life balance, look at the best-selling books and see how well they are selling. How would you do that? Just go here. So we see home office, work-life balance, work-life balance Smith. All right, but they're not super targeted. This is pretty good. So I like this. We have guides, we have books on this topic, but also they don't have too many reviews, right? So that does tell us that it would not be so hard to work, to read, to rank for these topics. Just to look down here, what are the right? That is these hours a bit high, a bit higher than I want. What about here? That's also pretty high. Let's look at this one. Let's look at this one too. Also a bit high. Okay, we don't even see a BSR, which is not a good sign because, where do we have it? Where's the BSR? Okay, strange, we don't even get a BSR, but the book obviously has reviews, so it has been selling. All right, so this basically tells us that the book topic we picked is not as attractive as we would wish it to be. So that makes me think we'll go back to ChatGPT and pick a different focus. So in order to do that better, I will just go now here to Amazon and hit remote work and just see what kind of books come up first. So we got the ones that we were searching for. Well-being at work, all right, but everything guide, remote work. Okay, there's a lot of books, but I don't really see the trend. Okay, so this is basically about remote work and teams and leadership. Remote work, succeeding. Okay, that's probably how to be productive in a remote work setting. Remote work and good money, running on note. Okay, this is probably about remote work. Leadership. That's about success and productivity, remote work. All right. Remote work, find a remote job. That's finding a remote job. Okay. Well, this is good because it gives you a good overview of the books you want to write. And the topics that are there, right? And by the way, you can also already see maybe what a good book cover could be. So I don't see a very clear trend, all right? But basically, you get the process. You look here, you check it out, and you can get ideas for the best book niches to pick, and you can also get clarity whether or not you should pursue this topic further. All right. So that is the book niche research. So what you can also do is, again, you can then also, if you click here, I'll just show you this now. You can click here on read sample, and then you can look inside the book, which is a great way. If you wait a little, then you can scroll down and you can look at the table of contents of the book, which is just a really great way to learn about the topics that your book should maybe cover. All right. So we have these topics in remote work, but as we saw, they're all not really the real deal. They're not really the big hit. So I'd like to now go back and say, let's work with personal finance instead. Someone with just a prompt and say, okay, so now we have a better overlook of topics that we could write about in this field. They're all very interesting, but I'm personally most interested in what are we going to pick? Luckily, I'm still a bit younger, but let's work with retirement planning. So I go back to the prompts we have here. This one. I mean, we can already everybody. We're art. get a list of the problems. I just prefer to have this in bullet points. It makes it much easier to read. Okay, great. So you see, some of these topics could definitely be a book of their own. But I want to make a more broad book, so I won't dive into more detail than any of these specifically. But now I want to turn to pain points and questions. So, like we said earlier, we have the explanation, so I don't need to explain this further. So I want to go with the retirement. I'm planning niche in general. What are some of the problems of pain points people suffer with in this niche? What are some of the questions they wish to have answers to give? We could äkta better but became the new Emma Benny. Twitting that and that again on big cudum and that with a the epit and sidum. Then get to the bomb like we done it and but if I never beat at but dunning. I mean, or again, if you get just text, maybe tell ChatGPT you want bullet points instead, which I prefer because they are just better to read and often they also get more detailed. Right? And you could think, you know what, maybe each of these questions could be a chapter of their own because we want to make sure that we answer all the questions our target reader has. Great. So now, as you know, we go back here. And now what we should do is to check with ChatGPT, to check on Amazon or also with a software like KDP Rocket or Jungle Scout or Helium 10. We can also check the keyword and how much people are paying in this niche, how much they're earning. So I'm using KDP Rocket, much of the software that you can buy. But while this is loading, I will go to Amazon and search for retirement planning. By the way, this is also really interesting here. If you type in a keyword, you will get suggestions for keywords that people are actually looking for. Okay, good. So this is here, by the way, we can already see because I'm using also a browser plugin. But this is great. So you can see all of those books are really well ranked to have really low BSR. And also, of course, depends on the book. So if they have these many reviews, then we won't be able to outrank them. But we also find some that how much have less reviews and still gets a good ranking. So that's really encouraging. This one here is also very encouraging. That's very good. This here, so it has a lot of reviews. Yeah, so we can definitely see that this is a very, very good and very lucrative keyword. So this is published a rocket, okay, P rocket here in the keyword search. I will also just type in. So you could see here there's more long tail, more specific keywords. And if you click here, you can just get data on every keyword. And here you also have a score, how competitive the niche is. So obviously, retirement planning is competitive. But I really like this niche here. This is interesting, right? We have a retirement planning guidebook. Or here, that's an interesting one, retirement planning after 50. So I like this one here. That's a reasonable number of searches, and the competition is not so high. So I like retirement planning guidebook. Let's do some more. All right, but they're not very much sought after. So I am going to pick retirement planning guidebook. And just to validate that this is not the protected trademark term, all right, so apparently this is a specific book that people are looking for, so I should not use this keyword. So, I'm going to go back here, and if we look here, I won't drill down a bit further. But it doesn't have
we
the
had
high saving
search
strategies
volume.
for retirement. So I will use here to get the idea for retirement planning, saving, retirement savings and income planning, saving for retirement. Okay, and I'll also search here. Okay, so saving for retirement, good BSR, not too many reviews. Retirement savings, very good BSR, not a crazy amount of reviews. Retirement saving, good BSR, not a crazy amount of reviews. Saving for retirement, good number of reviews, but not too many. All right, well, that's not the best ESR. Retirement money secrets, retirement planning, retirement savings. So you see, this is a process. If you're really, really diligent, you should spend a little more time researching your niche just so you can really, really validate that just really validate that you will actually write a book about a topic that people are looking for to make sure you can earn a lot of money. So just stop the process here now, but you should do a little more research and you can always go back to ChatGPT, go back here and go back to the niches, drill down until you find some that really have a very good ranking and are popular enough to make for a very good niche